Hi, Thomas. Welcome to the show. It's so good to chat with you again. Thomas and I just spent the last 10, 15 minutes just catching up. Thomas bought our old gym, our NuStrength gym. So we were so happy that it went to a really good and loving home, and it looks amazing now. So Thomas has two gyms, one on the Gold Coast and one in Brisbane. And he also runs an online, he does online coaching and has like a coaching development program. We actually, all of us, our whole entire team, Craig, the coaches, myself, spent a year working with Thomas, and I actually trained with Thomas for a year. Poor Thomas had to like put up with me twice a week for 12 months. But I really, really enjoyed working with you, Thomas. I just love people who are experts and who are very, I think, passionate about their craft and who have a really solid system and methodology that works. And, you know, I saw a lot of improvement in my squat, bench and deadlift when I worked with you over 12 months, and I feel really good now. And, that has really transferred over into me being able to progress more and further, even though obviously I don't do powerlifting. I just do strength training. So yeah, thanks so much, for coming on. I'm excited to talk to you today and share your knowledge with all the ladies out there.
Yeah, thanks for having me. And it's really cool to catch up with you guys anytime. So it's going to be fun to chat for the next little bit.
So Thomas is pretty strong himself, and he's coached a lot of other people to be really, really strong. And, you know, the women will hear me talking about, you know, in order to have that sustainable transformation, you need to build muscle. So in order to build muscle, you need to get stronger. And, you know, where I see a lot of women go wrong, especially when they come into our program or outside of our program, is that they don't have good technique. You know, I don't think they value enough, you know, how much that solid technique is going to transfer over into them being able to build that strength and then hence build the muscle that they need. And when I look at our best transformations and I look at myself and you watch them lifting, their breathing and bracing is good. They stay tight. All of the pillars that you talk about. And I often quote you, Thomas. So strength is the expression of good technique. So, you know, can you just talk a little bit about why that technique is so important for to build strength and yeah, just start with that.
Yeah, for sure. Like, obviously my jam is powerlifting, and in powerlifting, the goal is to show how strong you are through one rep of squat, bench, and deadlift. But it doesn't matter if that's your goal, if your goal is to generally get stronger for the purpose of growing more muscle and looking better, because ultimately at the end of the day, the weight that you can put on the bar, like you just said, is expressed via the way that you move. So how you move is ultimately going to determine the weight on the bar. The recipe for growing more muscle or getting more toned is lifting more weight for more reps over time, right? So step one on anyone's journey towards either becoming bigger or stronger or leaner or more toned should be learning how to move properly. Like, especially as soon as we start playing around with load, as soon as we start playing around with weights, we also open the door towards injury risk, right? And we don't want to get hurt while we're doing this stuff. So the cool thing about technique is that the strongest way is also the safest way. The safest way is also the most efficient way. So how you move is ultimately going to determine, you know, your path in this journey. And ask yourself this as a listener, you know, do you want to get stronger? The answer is probably yes. Do you want to keep lifting weights? The answer is probably yes. Those two things are going to ultimately, you know, determine how well you improve along your journey, regardless of the goal. You don't have to be big and strong. You still need to be doing this stuff to work towards being leaner and being more toned, right?
I think too, Thomas, like a big misconception with women, especially the ones that are new to lifting and come across me, you know, they think, oh, I and this is funny, actually. I went into this shop about a month ago and I was like, I don't know, it was a clothes shop, and the lady's like, oh my God, you've just got the most beautiful body. Like, what do you do? Like Pilates and running? Like, I think there's this like big misconception still. Women think that, you know, like if they lift some weights, they're going to look bulky. Like, how hard is it to get really strong as a woman? And build lots of muscle.
Very, very, very hard. Like, you know, Yeah, it's probably less of an attitude than it has been in the past in terms of you'll lift weights and turn into a man and get really bulky, but it's definitely still out there, and it'll probably always still be out there. It's really funny from the outside looking into that world, because I work with guys and girls who are desperate to get bigger and who are trying so hard and training consistently and eating like monsters and having a hard time getting bigger. Like it's not an easy endeavor putting on muscle. And as a female as well, hormonally, genetically, you're just not you're not geared towards putting on lots of muscle. So oftentimes when we're talking about building muscle via strength or getting stronger to build muscle, I think it's important to come back to a lot of the other benefits that come with strength training, right? There's like a huge sense of empowerment with being stronger. You get to watch the weight go up on the bar much quicker than you'll watch the weight go down on the scale. So there's this sense of improvement and this sense that you are making progress. There's benefits as a female, beyond the age of 30, maintaining bone density. There's huge benefits in resistance training for staying healthy in terms of osteoporosis in the long run as well. There's just hormonal benefits, mental benefits. It's so much that's golden about resistance training. I think as soon as we remove the idea that resistance training means lifting as much weight as possible and getting big and bulky, because that's just not the reality, and it's really hard to do.
It's so hard. It's so hard. And actually, just before I wanted to ask you about some other exercises, this just sort of leads into this point. I see it, and probably you would see it too. A lot of women, they diet and exercise. So when it comes to food, they may be strength training, but they're really under eating. So why is it so important to really fuel your body adequately when you're strength training?
Yeah, I mean the process of getting better at anything, the process of adapting to become stronger, leaner, whatever it is, requires fuel for that, right? We have to break things down to build them back up. Eating enough, to perform well, you have to do exercise in order to get leaner and to maintain muscle or to build muscle. You have to be eating enough to facilitate that. And if you've been under eating for 20 years, it's really fucking scary to start, putting food into your face. I think the other big thing that comes with that is the difference between scale weight and reality. People see the scales move and just associate the number with negative emotion, with fat. Like if the scale goes up 200 grams because you've lifted some weight, now you've got more muscle glycogen, so you're holding a little bit more water in your muscles. It's all of the shock horror of put on 200 grams of fat. Putting on fat is also quite hard. Gaining weight that's fat or muscle is pretty hard. You have to be significantly overeating. So you don't want to be scared of eating to fuel your performance, because eating enough is ultimately going to be probably one of, if not the biggest things that powers you towards your goal.
Absolutely. Can't hammer that home enough, ladies. But I get it too. When I first started, I was always so scared to eat more because I didn't want to gain weight. But now I know that, you need that fuel. You need to be able to perform and sleep and just feel good, I think, day to day. So, Thomas, in terms of, in your opinion, if you were starting strength training, what are some of the best exercises to do that are going to give you the most bang for your buck? They're going to help you build more muscle. I mean, I know all the exercises will, but we don't want to be in the gym doing 100 million exercises every session.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the big ticket compound exercises that are going to take the main joints through as much range as possible are probably going to be the things that we lean towards. So it doesn't necessarily have to be a barbell back squat, but some sort of squat variation. Some sort of pressing variation, whether it's a chest press or an overhead press, shoulder press kind of variation. And deadlifts are good in the sense of working towards motor patterns that are going to help things like squats. So while I don't believe deadlifts are a massive muscle builder, I think they're a really good skill to have.
Do you really? Why?
Just because of that range factor, right? So, a squat where you're taking your hips through full range versus a deadlift where you're not. But we don't want to look at it like that. We don't want to look at it as this exercise is going to build the most muscle, because then why would we do any other exercises?
Yeah, true.
So
But for example, like a bicep curl versus a squat, you'd want to
for sure.
programmed when you do your programming in some of these big compound lifts.
Yeah, absolutely. And like same thing, bicep curl versus deadlift all day, right? The things that are using more muscle, taking more effort, building more skill are probably going to be more beneficial towards your end
Mm.
goal.
Mm.
So I have an automatic bias towards squat, bench, deadlift because I'm a powerlifter and a powerlifting coach. But I would say a squat movement,
So,
a
for example,
press.
let me just cut in because some of the ladies are listening to this might be quite new to the lifting. So,
Okay, sure.
a squat. So, let's say you're at a gym and maybe you can't quite master squat, so you could do a hack squat, for example. Could you do
Yeah.
that instead?
Yeah, hack
Yeah.
squat,
Yeah.
pendulum squat, even a
Yeah.
leg press.
Yeah. So those big ones.
Mhm.
Yeah. And
Generally, stuff that takes more effort,
mm,
stuff that's harder, stuff that makes you more puffed out and makes you work harder is
mm,
probably going to be better. Like
now,
picking up some light dumbbells and sitting onto a bench and standing up and being like, "Oh, I've got a little bit of sweat on my head." It's probably not going to be
well, it's
that
probably like I used to train. So, and I see a lot of women, like if I ever go to the like commercial gyms, occasionally we'll go to Worlds because, Craig wants to use the pendulum squat. We use that actually. It was awesome. I think he wants to buy one for our house. Our whole living room now, Thomas, is nearly full of gym equipment, like the Smith machine's coming, the hack squat's coming. But the pendulum squat's so awesome. You can get such a like right down ass, like range of motion. It's amazing. But let's talk about the squat because it is one of your favorites, and I feel like with all the 3 lifts that I worked on with you, that's the one that I've seen the most improvement. So let's talk about why you believe the squat is so great for building muscle.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like, especially with the shift, like you think of when you started strength training, there probably wasn't a great desire for people to have toned legs and a big bum or anything like that. That's very much where the fitness industry is pointing these days. Like everyone wants a massive ass. Everyone wants big legs. If there's one exercise that's going to tick all those boxes straight up, it's going to be a squat for sure. The squat's great in general, but again, coming back to this idea of anything that requires more stability and coordination is probably going to have heaps of fringe benefits, not just in the lifting world, but in other applications outside of lifting too. So squats are great in that sense, in terms of them being, a good, almost full body exercise that's quite taxing and going to, work towards the goals that most people are going to have anyway. I don't know. Yeah, it's great in all of those senses.
Now let's talk about, because this is what Craig really liked with you. And he said, prior to us working with you for 12 months, because we've pulled a lot of what you've taught us and incorporated some aspects into our program around you talk about the 3 pillars for the squat. Can you talk about that? Because I feel like before I trained with you that no one had ever really showed me or taught me those things.
Yeah, for sure. So, like, as a listener, the way that I approach lifting across the board, not just squats, but everything, is, you're built differently to me. We have different backgrounds, we have different goals, we might be a different gender, but you're a human, I'm a human. You have a shoulder, I have a shoulder. You have a hip, I have a hip. When it comes to these movements, when it comes to things like squats, bench, deadlifts, even though we're all built differently, we all have different sporting backgrounds and injuries and all of that sort of stuff, we're all doing the same movement. And we're all the same animal, ultimately. So within these lifts, there's certain biomechanical rules that apply to everyone. So that's what Kitty means when she says pillars, right? So I call them rules, you guys call them pillars, same thing, doesn't matter. These fundamental ideas, right? And I break up the main 3 lifts into 3 pillars. So pillar number 1, or rule number 1, is where does the power come from? And in a squat, that's going to be the muscles of your legs and hips. So we want to prioritize making the most out of those muscles, because that's what you're doing the movement for. You're not just trying to move the bar up and down or the kettlebell up and down. You're trying to build the muscles that are moving the thing. So rule number 1 is going to be that we need to understand how to stabilize our hips, how to control them while we're moving through that range. And that's going to be really important, because you're going to have to do that when you go and do a leg press, when you go and do other movements, when you do lunges, when you do split squats, when you do whatever variations of a pressing movement with your leg. You're going to have to be able to control this stuff to get the most out of it. And training, I mean, like, especially if you're listening, you don't really like training, because not everyone loves it. There's some of it, it's a bit of a labor. You learn to love it over time. But it's about return on investment. You don't want to spend hours and hours in the gym. You want to go to the gym and get the most out of what you're doing, right? And
can I just jump in there? Because I think that's such
a
fabulous and amazing point, because a lot of the women that do our program, they don't have a lot of time. And when you actually, sometimes I've actually gone into the gym and timed the actual amount of time I've spent lifting, and it's fuck all. So you think when you train 2 to 3 times a week for this small amount of time, you can actually, like, I'm nearly 40 and I look the best I ever have training the least I ever have, because I think it's being able to train with intensity and the right technique so you can get the most out of every rep. And what I've found now after working with you and, we've pulled these things away is it's like, maybe I can get a couple more reps because I can stay tighter. My technique is so much better. But yeah, I think for so many women, you're all doing cardio, spending 2 hours a fucking day in the gym. It's just you're actually destroying the body that you have instead of building a body that you want. And the strength training is because I think my goal in my head is I want to look the best I can, eat the most amount of food I can, and train the least I can. And this ticks all of the boxes. Strength training,
for sure.
Yeah. Sorry, keep going.
No. You're 100% right. And it's like, again, we don't, even us, well, I love training. Training is my everything, right? It's my release. It's my social space. It's where I get to hang out with my friend. I love training, but I don't have a desire to train for 8 hours a day. I want to go to the gym and I want to do a significant amount of work in a short amount of time. So I've got more time to do the other stuff I love. So, the more bang for your buck you can get. And coming back to what you were saying before about why I love squats, that's why squats are so great. There's such a high return on investment. So yeah, pillar number 1, how do we control our hips? Pillar number 2 is breathing and bracing. So think of that as like your core, your core stability. That's going to be really important to understand for these big compound lifts, not just in terms of performing them well, but again, understanding that the strongest way to perform this, the best way to perform it, is also the safest way. So in terms of people freaking out about squats and deadlifts, loading up my lower back, am I going to hurt myself? Really, we're not putting a great deal of load directly through our lower back if we're breathing and bracing right. Our job with our torso is like, you're creating this power at your hips. Your torso is just like the transfer point. It's just, helping that power go from your hips up into the bar, or up into the kettlebells or dumbbells, or even if you're doing body weight, it's just about moving you, right? So we're not actually loading up our lower back that much. We're using it to stabilize so we can transfer power. So breathing and bracing in big movements like this is super, super, super important. And pillar number 3 is what you're doing with your shoulders and your upper back, especially if you're doing this with a bar on your back.
Now, with the hips, if someone had poor hip stability, what would that typically look like when they were squatting? Because I see this a lot.
Yeah. So stability is a really confusing concept, but the easiest way, especially if you're new to this, to understand what it looks like is think about what unstable looks like. So if you're talking about a squat, the only things that we should see moving in your lower body, ankles, knees, hips, and they should just be moving forward and back. So if you see people's feet caving in, their knees caving in, or their knees moving around to the side, side to side, that's going to be indicative of hip instability.
I think I remember, and I know we were doing this roundtable last night and Craig was reviewing a chick squat and he just said, look, for now, it does actually take a bit of work. I think I remember when I first came to see you and I initially dialed my weights back and I was thinking, oh, fuck, this is like it's so annoying. And I had to do all these like hip stability, the band stuff. And, it was really annoying. But then I was like, look, you want to improve this, kitty. So you just got to go in and do this shit. But over a period of 6 months, everything improved dramatically because I was just coming in and focusing on, okay, I've got to get better at these things. And it's actually quite amazing. But again, we were on this roundtable last night. This lady was squatting. Craig said, look, why don't you just go and do some hack squats for now, or you can do Smith squats if she's really struggling to pick up that technique. And it doesn't mean you can't go back to it, but say if you're someone who just can't get it, go and do some hack squats, go and do, some of those other variations. But I think if you can persist with it and put the work in, because I've actually seen there's a girl in our program, she doesn't have any access to gym equipment. So she's just been working at home with kettlebells and stuff. and she posted a video up of her very first squat. So like, typically like just knees caving in, like right over like this and then the one now. So she's been practicing all the shit that we've learned from you, that we've implemented into our program. And she now can squat with the little kettlebell perfectly, knees aren't caving in, breathing, bracing, up like this. It's amazing. So she's just persisted with doing those drills consistently. And like, it really does work.
Yeah. It's funny with anything that's like a chosen endeavor. We expect to get it really quickly. With things we don't have to choose, we're happy to screw up and just keep trying. Like, imagine if when you go to cook your food, you burn it and you're like, no, not cooking anymore. I'm just going to buy food for the rest of my life. It's like, it doesn't work like that. You don't really have an option with that. Most people don't have an option with that. You need to learn how to do it, right? But with stuff that we're choosing to do, like going and lifting weights, we expect to be like, these are the 3 pillars. These are the cues we use for the pillars. I'm going to try it once. No, can't do it. It's too hard. Have you heard of the 10,000 hour rule? Like to get good at something, you need to commit 10,000 hours to it. I mean, it's a bit of an arbitrary rule. I don't think there's a great deal of actual good science behind it. But the point is, it takes a long time. It takes a lot of practice. And like, I mean, I've been lifting now for 17 years, and I've been powerlifting now for 15 of those 17 years, and I'm still practicing. It's just practice. It's time. That example of like backing down to the hack squat. Look at it like, if anyone's ever learned how to play a piano, if not, just picture it. When you're struggling to learn a song with both hands, you learn one hand at a time. If you're struggling to put your hips into the squat, just learn how to do the hips. Get rid of the bracing, the upper back, get on a hack squat, get on a leg press, practice what to do with your hips and your feet and everything. Learn that. Once you get good at controlling that and mastering that, then you can practice the other stuff.
Yeah, I think, like something that's really served me well is I always think, okay, what's the goal? What are the skills that I need to master to get to the goal? And then I make my standard of success just showing up every day and chipping away at learning the skills, because I think your journey never ends with lifting. Like I even still show my videos to Craig and he'll be like, reminds me to do shit that I know that I already fucking know. Like, I think you're never going to stop learning and improving. And I think when you can really knuckle down and master these base level skills when it comes to squat, bench, deadlift, it really will serve you longer term, especially when it comes to building a good physique. And I also think too, like if you want to spend less time in the gym, like now I can maintain what I have doing like really low volume because I do like leg press, squat, deadlift, and I can do them well most of the time. But you've got to think, I think in your head, like long-term gain. Like if you're a woman and you're sick of, like yo-yo dieting and not having the body that you want, you've got to focus on the skills that you need to master and playing the long game and not wanting those instant results of weight loss. Because I think if you can do that and play the long, like in a year, 18 months, you'll look heaps better and you'll feel heaps better. And like Thomas said, it's just so empowering. Like it really is the most empowering feeling picking up, especially I just love deadlifting because it's like, the like lifts I love. But, when you go in and you hit that PB on a deadlift, or even a squat or even a bench. I mean, I hate bench, but yeah.
But you're right, with the strength training stuff, like I was saying before, the cool thing about it is in terms of seeing immediate change, it's probably one of the quickest things to come. And so, the more you see that, the more intrinsic motivation you'll find to work on that skill and get better at it. And you just have to keep the little voice in the back of your head saying, okay, learning to squat is not my goal, but it's a part of my goal. Like learning to squat is going to help me get better legs, better bum, is going to help me get leaner over time. Like focus on your big goal and remember the little skill sets, the stuff that you may not enjoy, the stuff that's a little bit harder. You have to stick with that. Just like raising a kid, right? You can't just, your baby's crying and after 6 months, you're like, you know what, I'm done with this baby and just leave it behind. You're not going to do that. No, because you've got the bigger goal in mind. You know what it's going to look like over time. It's harder to see that with something that, you're focusing on all the negativity of. You have to, keep your mind on the bigger picture.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, and yes, ladies, and I don't know if you've met anyone, Thomas, or a woman that's gotten strong and said, I hated it. I hate being strong.
No, like I said, it's so empowering. Not just feeling strong physically, but when you're strong physically, you tend to find a little bit more mental fortitude, because to get stronger physically, you have to develop some grit in your training.
I agree.
We spoke about, when we were training, we spoke about grit heaps, because that's one thing that you learned big time with that recomp stuff.
Yeah.
Grit is a skill, like learning to be like, I'm uncomfortable, I don't want to do this, because your brain is going to give up way before your body gives up, especially with something like squats or leg press. Your legs can keep going forever, way longer than your brain is going to do it. I think you guys do this at your I can't remember the days, the WAL weekends.
Yeah, the
right?
50 rep leg presses.
You do the 50 rep leg presses. I'm sure people get to 20 and they're like, I've had enough, and you just keep going, and all of a sudden you're at 50.
Yeah.
You have to have that grit, and it's part and parcel. It goes around in a circle. You develop that grit, and then all of a sudden, in day-to-day tasks outside of lifting weights, you feel strong, you feel empowered, you feel good. And add that to the fact that as you continue to get stronger, your body's going to continue to change, and if that's your goal, you're going to get a lot of positive feedback out of that in your head.
One thing too I'd just like to add is that, and I know you love eating as much as I love eating, is that when the stronger you are, the more fucking food you can eat.
Yeah, for sure.
That's what I like about it. I can eat so much more food now, because we talk a lot about improving their metabolism and, eating, improving their digestion. And that's obviously going to get you so far. But the more muscle you have, the more food that you can eat. And to me, that's always a good thing, because I love eating.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
I know Thomas loves eating too. He's a bit of a foodie, old Thomas.
Maybe a little bit too much sometimes.
Oh, that's so awesome. Well, thank you so much, Thomas. And ladies, I'll put the links you can follow Thomas on Instagram. He's got this real cute dog, Buddy. He's really cute. You can follow him. He posts lots about Buddy, and he coaches some really. I encourage you to unfollow all of the Instagram women that eat fuck all and that is like super lean, and follow women that follow some of the women that Thomas coaches. There's this one chick, Jen Smith, that I think's like so hot and so jacked, and I just love her. But some really inspiring women that are strong and healthy and eat lots of food, because I think that just really. Because a lot of women that come to us have gone through a lot of dumb dieting, and they'll follow not all fitness models are like this. I shouldn't say that, but some people that maybe aren't the best role models. Yeah. So I think it can really help to follow some women who are strong and eat lots of food and train for performance rather than training to be super lean.
For sure.
But yeah, you can check him out. He's got the gym in our old strength room, Upper Mount Gravatt, 0 now. It looks awesome. It's all red. And then he's got his gym on the Gold Coast. I'll have to come in for a session one time.
Yeah, for sure. We're about to get a whole heap of bodybuilding equiment. So we're just
Craig told me
out upstairs. Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, Thomas's gym's gonna be so sweet, kitty. He's like, he's getting all this good, some brand from I don't know the brands, he knows them, but it looks really, really awesome. And so I'll put the links to Thomas's website and his Instagram so you guys can follow him. But cool. Thanks so much, Thomas. We really enjoyed working with you and learnt a lot in the 12 months. So I'm really grateful for all the great. I often think about you when I'm lifting.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah. Thanks so much, Thomas. I'll talk to you soon.
Cool. See you.
Bye.